lots of good information. I'll get this all set up here. And I'm not on mute, so that's a good sign, right? So I'm learning. So requirements, what the heck? No one said anything about requirements, right? And they just told me to go teach this stuff. Well, we want you to know that we understand that this is all about information overload. It's like drinking from a fire hose. It's all this information coming at you from a lot of different directions. And we know that over these 2 days, there's no way you're going to take this all in. But we hope that as things occur, as things start occurring when you start school, you'll remember back to your Teacher Academy days, and you'll remember, I know they said something about that, and they said there was a resource in CTU. I think I know where that's at. So, and if you don't, it's send us an email, give us a call. You talked about this, but I don't remember what you said. And what do I need to do? We know that's going to happen, and it's okay. But there's no really good way to get all this out to you so that you know that it's all out there, other than by just giving it to you. And over this new virtual format, we've really condensed down our presentations so that you weren't having to sit in front of your screens as long. So we know it's really coming to you through a funnel. So we're going to do our best on this side, and you're going to provide us feedback and let us know how we can do better. We're always looking to improve as well. But so here we go with some of those requirements. We've talked a little bit about your teacher certification. As long as your teaching certificate says Career Tech Business or Marketing Education, depending on what you're teaching, you're going to be fine to teach anything that is offered under our BMITE curriculum. Now, there are other ways to get certified. There's a provisional certification that you can get. Most of those occur through technology centers, who are individuals coming through with different types of backgrounds. But our teacher certification specialist, Laurie Richardson, is the one that can walk you through that process. Some of you at the K12 centers and at the tech centers as well, if you don't have Career Tech Business or Marketing Education, but you are a certified teacher, then you probably just need either an emergency certification, or you can get one of our provisional certifications. Either one of those are good for a year to allow you time to take the test to be able to teach in our particular curriculum. So those are all questions, once again, that Laurie can assist you with. So if you have any question at all, and that's not on your certificate, then you need to be in contact with her, okay? The other requirement besides being certified is that you participate in our 5 days of Teacher Academy. And you've started that process now. There's a total of 5 days. It's a little unusual with this virtual format because there are the BPA and DECA sessions, that are tacked on each day that won't be done on this particular day. They'll be done later in the week. So be sure and refer to your agenda. We'll remind you again tomorrow that you need to make sure and attend those sessions for BPA and DECA on July the 28th and August the 5th and September the 2nd. But again, that's all on your agenda. Now let's talk about actual rules. We have administrative code that is approved by the legislature, and we have to follow these guidelines. And so these are some of the main ones that I felt like affected you the most that we needed to go through. So if you have one of our teacher certifications, you're approved to teach in grades 7 through 12 and through adult. Now, your certificate may say grades 6 through 12 plus, and we're working on getting that lowered to 6th grade, and that hopefully that will be coming soon. But this is what we're approved to do right now. You can have a maximum of 25 students per class, per course, and you need 1 workstation per student. So every student needs their own workstation, their own functioning computer. I mean, we're all about technology, and that's why you get those program funds, those program dollars, to make sure that your students are adequately supplied to teach, to take this course that you're offering. The technology should be appropriate for the courses that you're offering. The classroom lab should reflect a relevant business environment. Hopefully they're going to get to spend some time in your classroom and your lab this year, hopefully the entire year. But it sounds like many of you are going to return in different ways. We're hearing some of you are completely on-site. Some of you will do a hybrid. Some will offer some on-site, some virtual, and then some will do a combination of those two. So we know that you're facing all different situations out there. Safety training, testing is required for all students, and you're going to get more specific information about that from Kathy shortly. And then each of you need an industry advisory committee that meets at least one time, and usually we would say one time on site every year. And this year that may need to go virtual. But I've put a link to our actual rules that are on our website. If anyone has any questions about any of the specific rules and how they're worded, you can certainly go out there and read the rules. They're pretty exciting. Okay, so specifically for K12 programs, a full-time program is considered to be, if you have a 7-period day, that would mean that you would be offering 6 periods of BMITE courses with 1 planning period. If you have a half-time program, that would mean you were offering 3 of our BMITE courses, approved BMITE courses, with 1 planning period. All courses must be approved BMITE titles and with OCAS codes that are in the 8,000 level. We find sometimes that schools are offering, they're coding it with 2,000 level courses, which are not career tech courses. If you're teaching in a career tech program, that means your courses must be in the 8,000 level. And all of our syllabi have the appropriate code for that OCAS code for that course listed on the syllabus. So you can work with your administration or contact us if you have a question about it, and we can help them make sure that they're listing the right codes for your courses. Marketing programs are able to teach 1 related course with approval from us. So if there's something that your school is wanting you to teach that is not specifically listed as a marketing program and it's related somehow to your marketing program, there's a chance that you would be able to have an exception and teach something outside of the marketing area. For technology center programs, a full-time program is typically, you would be offering 2 3-hour block periods of time. So you'd have a morning session, 3-hour block session, and an afternoon 3-hour block session. And it would be for from grades 10 through 12 with adults in there as well. Some programs have adults only. Some are primarily filled with high school students, but there's a mixture typically of high school and adult. Usually tech centers will fill their program first with high school students, and then any openings, then they open it up for adult students. All of the tech center programs must have an occupational outcome, and there must be a work-based learning component included in that. Program approvals. Any program that you're teaching at the tech center must go through an approval process that comes through us at the State Department. And so if you're teaching in the IT cluster area, those IT approvals actually would go through Christy. And so whichever cluster team leader you're teaching under, those approvals would go through that team leader. And then we've talked about reporting the correct BMITE codes. Tech centers also would be reporting those BMITE codes to the State Department of Education also, and they would need to be reporting the right level of codes as well. So, and then also, tech centers are expected to be working closely with their district sending schools. So typically a tech center, it varies from tech center to tech center as to how many sending schools, how many schools are a part of that tech center district. But they need to be in close connection with those sending schools. Another area is, we touched on it just briefly, there is a 5-year rotation for evaluations of not only tech centers, but K12 programs as well. We have a list out on our website, and we'll get to that when you do your evaluation sessions. Tomorrow, I believe, is when you're doing that one. And those are developed around 7 standards, and those 7 standards is what you're going to need to be prepared for when we come to look at your programs. Not something we want you to stress about. What we want you to get completely from those, we look at those as opportunities. That's an opportunity for continuous improvement in your programs, and we want to be there to help you do that. So if there's something that's not in place or that you're not doing or that needs to be there for your program, we're just going to talk about it. We're going to figure out what's a plan for you to get that going and to get that implemented into your programs. So follow our state approved syllabi and meet the minimum competencies identified. We're going to have a session for you tomorrow that's going to delve deeper into the curriculum side of things and really point out some things about the syllabi. And each of our syllabi is going to have approved testing that's associated with that syllabus. And then for your BPA and DECA chapters, we expect that you have an active chapter that's in good standing and that it be a co-curricular activity. And it's not considered an extracurricular activity. It's considered co-curricular, which means that the activities need to be integrated into what you're doing. And a really neat thing that Paxton has decided to do, it's quite a project, but she is wanting to put together some resources for you on how you can integrate your BPA or DECA chapter activities into each one of the courses. And so she's developing a resource, and as soon as she gets that resource put together, we'll certainly be sharing that out with you to give you some ideas of things that you can do to integrate into what you're teaching. Work-based learning experiences. The really neat thing about being a career tech program is the hands-on activities, the things that simulate the workplace, that give students an idea of what they would, types of activities that they would actually be doing on the job. And so those come in a lot of different forms and fashions, depending on what you're capable of at your location. But live work projects, a lot of teachers take on live work projects for their students to do, job shadowing activities, internships, which those activities are going to be challenged. Dr. Mack talked a little bit about how we're working on trying to come up with some virtual job shadowing experiences for your students. Simulations is something that you can do with your students, and then career development activities. All of those things we expect everyone to do. And now high school may not be able to do an internship, but they can do live work projects. They can do simulations. They can do several things that emulate what students would be doing in the workforce. Cooperative learning is a step further. So if you're interested in your students actually doing internships, which, if you're doing an internship, that means your students would be on the job. They have to have a job, and you would be supervising those activities. You would need to be free to be able to go visit them and to do some on-site coordination activities with them. So that takes it to a whole different level. The capstone course also could encompass some cooperative learning activities in it. The capstone course is actually the final course in a sequence of courses, which means that your students then would have completed every course in a sequence to get to that capstone course. And the capstone course could be working on their industry certification. It could be doing simulations. It could be doing some live work projects, but it also could be some type of internship program as well. So there's different ways that teachers structure that capstone course, but all three of those are opportunities that really encompass or embrace the work-based learning part of what we do. And then career guidance. So we're not all counselors. However, we can all assist our students with career guidance activities and helping them figure out what you're teaching fits into the whole picture. So if a student, for instance, is really interested in what you're teaching, then what do they need to do to get to the level that they want to be at? So program alignment, we've talked about that already, that where you're working with your middle school, your high school, and your technology centers, and on into your colleges to figure out how can you align your curriculum to better prepare your students to get to whatever level they want to get at. If they just want to go through high school and then go to work, that's their drop-off point, then what do they need to do? Then if they want to go on to the tech center, what would they take beyond that? And then if they want to go on to a community college, what would they take? and then if they want to go on to a 4-year college. So you want to make sure that you're providing them some of that guidance to help them if they're interested in what you're teaching. So there's some things that you can do with them, and we've talked about OK Career Guide. We certainly want to suggest that you take a look at that, because it's got some really good free resources, and it's available to you and your students. Everyone sets up their own account. There's lesson plans out there for them, and it also is a way for them to track their ICAP experience through school, and which is their individualized career academic plan, one of the new requirements for your students. And so all of that is available through OK Career Guide. So when you get some time, when you get some free time, you might want to go out and take a look at that. This is a great thing to integrate into your classroom and just revisit it every year. If your students come back to you for another class the next year, or at the tech center, a lot of times there's someone there that does this part for you. But don't rely on someone else to do it for you. You know, make sure that your students are aware of these resources out there, because there's a lot of things that they can do that help them prepare to go into the workforce. One of the other things that we do is we ask you to put together a program strategic plan. And that's just really, you know, like a 1 to 3 year plan of where you want to take your program. Set some goals for your program based around the 7 standards that we have. And, you know, if you want to go in a different direction curriculum-wise, if you want to learn a new area so that you can add a new type of course, or what is it that you want to do to get to where you want your program to be? What do you want it to look like? So figure out what you want your program to look like, and then start setting those goals to help you get there. And we have a template. Once again, it's out in CTU, and I don't think I'm going to have time to get out there and show you probably where that's at, but I want you to be aware it's there, and the link to get to it is here, as well as professional development. So we have a template available for you for professional development to set your goals professionally. Now your school may have a form already in place. These are just templates. You can use them, or you can use your own template if you want to, but these are just some suggested ones that you could use. These are very simple to use forms. We've tried to pare them down so that they're easy to use. And then also developing your professional learning network, your PLN resources. So what does that mean? That means, who do you follow? Are you on Twitter? Do you have certain people that you follow that helps keep you up to date? Are there blogs that you're following? You know, what websites do you go to find out information? So it's just figuring out what are all those resources that can help me be a better teacher for my students. How am I keeping informed? So what is that PLN for you look like? And there's a lot of resources here to go explore and check that out. CTEMs are data collection. This is a big area, and we'll send out information throughout the year when it's time to do one of these reports. The K12 report is the 2 K12 only reports are the 412 expenditure report, which we talked about earlier. Your program funds that you get from us, if you're an unfunded program, you don't have to worry about this because you won't have a 412 report. But your school business manager most likely is the person that will put this together for you and print it out. She's tracking all the expenses that you're doing for your program. She'll print out that report. So you want to go to them in August and say, hey, can you print out my expenditure report for last fiscal year? And then you submit that to us. It actually goes to Pam Porter. We'll be asking for that 412 report, and that's what that is. How was your 412 money spent? And so we take a look at that. And then your salary and teaching report, which is just basically outlining for us what classes that you're teaching this year and how many students you have in those. And then Technology Center only report would be the state program area request. Whatever you're teaching for the next year, that goes through an approval process. And then both K12 and Tech Centers do enrollment reports and follow-up reports. One of the things I just want to say about the follow-up report, when you do the follow-up report, it's done in the spring, and it's done over the students that were enrolled in your program for the previous year. The challenge that you're going to have as new teachers coming in, if you weren't the teacher in place last year, you're going to be asked to do the follow-up report on those students that you don't even know. And so you're just going to have to do your best and use your resources from your school. You know, doing this virtually, there's going to be lots of different challenges. We understand that. You're just going to have to do the best that you can do. And we'll send out resources. We have a really good support system through our CTEMS program. Let me just move on to that slide here. CTEMS is our system, our Career Tech Information Management System, where you will go and find all the reports and find all the supporting documentation, guidebooks, and all of the things that go along with that. I'm just checking my time to make sure that I'm not going over here. I still have some time. I wanted to be able to go out and show you this site so that you'll know where you would find all this at. This is the support information for CTEMS. I'm going to stop sharing this screen right now, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to show you where you find the resources for the reporting. And just keep in mind that as it's time for different reports to come due, we will be sending out more and more resources to help you get to those locations and know where you need to go. Okay, so this is our just our regular website. This is our homepage on okcareertech.org. When you go to okcareertech.org, if you'll notice this red ribbon along the top here, there's a location for CTEMS. So anything to do with reporting other than the 412 report. The 412 report is the only report where you just send us a copy from your business manager. Everything else, you're going to go out here to CTEMS. I'm going to click on that link. It takes me here and it gives you the login assistance and information. So every one of you are going to need to have a CTEMS login. And each of your logins are going to be tied then ultimately to your PID, your program identification number. So every program has a unique program identifier. And so those of you stepping into a new position this year, the teacher that was there before you was tied to the PID that you currently have now. So all of their enrolled students from last year are going to show up on your follow-up report this year because it's tied to that PID number, if that makes sense. So as I scroll down, I'm going to scroll down this page just a little bit and get to the comprehensive schools, which is our K12 programs. So these are the areas that you're going to be doing in CTEMS. You're going to be doing the SESI, we call it the SESI enrollment report. And you can see that the due date for that, the initial due date is October the 31st. The salary and teaching schedule, that's the first one that you'll do, and you'll see it's due September the 30th. And there's a technical guidebook that helps you, steps you right through it, really. Once you get logged in, there's a guidebook to help you figure out what you need before you ever get into the point where you're actually entering data into any of the reports. And then the completion follow-up report, again, has a technical guidebook. And there's also a PowerPoint guide there as well. And then the due date for that is March the 15th. So those are the big reports for the comprehensive schools. And then for the tech centers, you know, once again, the tech centers operate just a little bit differently. And many times they've hired someone to help you with this reporting. Most of you won't have to worry about doing the SESI enrollment. Usually that's done by your enrollment person, and they take care of all of that for you. You may have to do the follow-up report, but you know, you'll just get with your school and work with them to figure out what you're going to be expected to do as far as follow-up or what reporting they're going to want you to do. For both programs, the thing that you want to keep in mind for the follow-up reporting is that you're going to want to collect data on all of your current students that enroll in your program this year. You're going to want to know once they're gone from your program, and you know, they may only be with you a semester and they move. So you want to get this information up front, right at the beginning of the school year, and find out what is their contact information. Find out alternative phone numbers, like for parents or for someone that, a guardian or someone that they know that you can contact if you can't get in touch with that student. You know, some schools don't allow you to be friends on Facebook, for instance, through social media. have those connections with students until they graduate. Some schools don't care, so there's a way that that you maybe can reach out to them through social media. That has helped teachers be able to find out what students are doing after they graduate and leave your program, what they're actually doing. But let me just explain to you really quickly the importance of that information. So everything that we collect, we don't just collect it to cause you grief and to be busy work for you. It's actually data that's used and that we use to build better programs and to build better support for our programs and to add funding if we can do that. So we do that by knowing that our students are being placed in positions that are related to what they're being trained for, and that there's a need for those jobs for those students to be placed in. And also going on to college is a positive placement factor as well. So tracking all of that data is really important, and it also comes back around to also impact your Carl Perkins reports as well. So schools that are receiving Carl Perkins dollars, that follow-up data is also, and enrollment data is tied to your Perkins reporting as well. So it's not just something that we're trying to make your life miserable. It's really something that we need to help strengthen our programs. So we appreciate your hard work in trying to figure all that out and understand that, yes, it's going to be a challenge, especially this first year as you're trying to figure out who those students are. A lot of those students will be returning, and so that makes it easy. But some of them, have gone on to get jobs or gone on to college, and so it's finding out. A lot of times, your students know. You can ask your student, "What happened to this person?" If you can't find them, they went on to college. They're going to wherever. So sometimes you can locate what they're doing through your students. But the faculty is probably your first, the counselor or someone that knows those students well. The English teacher, a lot of the English teachers know all the students in high schools anyway. So, any questions?
We do have some questions, Carrie, about the PID number. Mm-hmm. How do they find those? Do they need to find that?
Okay, those are really good questions. So we have. I'm gonna take us out to CTE if that's okay. Do I have time to do that real quick? So I'm gonna go to CTU. We have one of the documents that we have lists all of our program areas and all of our schools and the tech centers and the high schools, and it provides your PID number on there as well. Now there's some new programs that don't have one established yet, so it's going to be blank. But so anyway, if you saw where I was on the home screen from CTU, and I selected BMITE, and then I selected the BMITE Teacher Resources, and now I'm going to go down to Evaluations/Program Information. Click on that again. That's just a place mark. So I'll scroll down here, and you'll notice that we've got. It's called Evaluation Schedule 2020-2025. Oh, I don't know. I probably can't open that from there now. So I can see that, but can you guys see that spreadsheet? Kathy, anybody? Can you guys see the spreadsheet?
No, it's not. I don't see one.
You can't. So I'm gonna stop sharing that, and I'm gonna go share that document and let you see what I just pulled up.
It's 1 o'clock, so I'm going to start taking money out of your paycheck if you go over much longer, okay?
Okay, this is a quickie, okay, just to answer that question.
Okay.
Do you see the spreadsheet now?
Yes.
Okay, if you'll notice, this is the Tech Center page. So at Autry Tech, we have a new teacher at Autry Tech, Jacob Robinson. So his PID number is located right there beside his name. If I scroll on down, then we get to the high schools alphabetically, and they're listed here with the PID beside them. So that's how you can find your PID. But once again, you'll notice there's going to be some blanks with PIDs that haven't been assigned yet, but that's coming. But that's something you'll use for every report that you send us except for the 412. Okay. If there are other questions, we'll take note of that, and I'll try to come back and answer those for you. Okay. Will that work, Christy? And let me keep my paycheck?
Okay, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so are we moving along then? I'm seeing no more questions in the chat. Okay.